on Monday night. How do you reflect on that point at West Brom?
I think they're probably the best team we've faced this season in terms of how direct and attacking they were, how fast they moved the ball, and the problems they caused us. But I also think we stood up to the test well, based on the little bit of adversity that we're facing in the last couple of weeks and the results that haven't quite gone our way. But it was a characterful performance against a very good team, a very difficult place to go. And I think a point is a point gained, especially being 1-0 down and showing the character, even after soaking up all the pressure, to go and get the equaliser and then see it out from there. I thought that showed a different side of what we're capable of.
And how much confidence can you take from that? Because obviously it was back to the wall stuff at times, particularly in that first half, but you saw it out and earned the point.
Yeah, I think we can certainly take positives. Of course, there are some negative things and some things we need to work on and things that we need to develop as a team and get better at. I think on another day we probably could have been behind going into half time with the chances that they had, but I think in general we defended well and like I say, we showed a different type of character to what people are perhaps used to seeing, and I think it's important that we have dynamism in our game. We're not just predictable and we set up a certain way and that's it. I think we need to have that difference in the way we set up at times and the way we defend, the way we play in general. I think because I think you probably would have noticed that we added a few more long balls to the game, from myself certainly, and that creates a different kind of position for the opposing team because they don't think that we're entirely predictable in keeping the ball on the pitch. So to show that side of what we're capable of is, I felt it was refreshing and I felt it gave us a good hand in the game.
Reflecting on your own performances, you've told me in the past that you need rhino skin as a goalkeeper. How important is self-belief and mentality during a challenging run?
I'm a big believer in everybody's got their opinions. I'm someone that like you've just said, you've made reference to there, that you do have to have rhino skin as a goalkeeper, and everything that's said to me in a negative way is water off a duck's back. If I listened to every time someone gave me a negative comment or an opposing fan or fans, as it were, on home games or away games were telling me that I'm this, that and the other, then I wouldn't be able to do what I do for a living, and I wouldn't be able to do it week in, week out. So for me, regardless of whether I'm in a good vein of form, a bad vein of form, or an indifferent vein of form, for me it's important that I stick to my basics. I work hard on the training ground, that's a given. The way I live my life off the pitch is with the utmost professionalism, and that continues regardless of whether I'm keeping 10 clean sheets on the bounce or conceding goals left, right, and centre. So it's important that I stick to what I know and what I believe works. But regardless of who the player is and what their capabilities, everyone goes through certain patches where things aren't quite happening for them and aren't quite coming off. But you believe in yourself and you continue working hard to get through that patch and to move on to better form if that's the case.
You've been working with Iñaki since the summer. What's the dynamic like with him as your goalkeeper coach?
Incredibly explosive. We work very, very hard on a daily basis. We have to go in at times and beg for an easy day, but I think it's all in good preparation for a match on a Saturday. And what he's trying to achieve of us isn't an overnight thing. There's concepts in which he believes will make us top goalkeepers, and I think if we want to achieve where he believes he feels we should achieve, we have to buy into what he's saying. I've certainly done that, and it's not there's going to be a transitional period. It's not just Simon Royce worked that way and Iñaki works that way, so I'll change into what Iñaki says. It takes time because I'm very much a goalkeeper of habits, and I've got things that work for me and things that I've always done in my career that have led me to the place I am now. Iñaki believes that if I develop those things and slightly change and adjust them, I could then go on to another level in terms of my goalkeeping. So that's obviously important that I take those things on board and continue with things that work for me and things that perhaps don't. Obviously, we have that discussion as and when it's relevant. So it's a challenge, of course, because he's taking me out of my comfort zone and pushing me every day. But it's beneficial for me, I think.
Looking ahead to Saturday, what kind of challenge are you expecting from Swansea? Obviously, they play a similar brand of football to yourselves.
I think, obviously, I know they're an ex-Premier League team, so they're going to have a high calibre and quality of players. They're going to have a way of playing which they will obviously believe in, and I'm sure they'll try and come to win the game. I think we've faced our biggest test so far away at West Brom on Monday. And I think the next biggest test is Swansea on Saturday. So I think it's important how we approach the game. I think we've got to continue with the mentality that we showed on Monday. I believe if we do so, linked with the good football and the energy that we will show on Saturday, I think it's a recipe for us going to win the game and get 3 points, because that's the most important thing for us.
Back at Griffin Park, how much of a difference can the supporters make?
When Griffin Park is rocking, it's a really special place. The fans, and it's very cliche, and a lot of people won't believe me, but they do make a difference, and it is like having a 12th man. When we go to places and we hear people, home fans backing their teams against us, it does make a difference. And that's another thing it's another challenge that us as away players have to stand up to. So it's no different when we're at Griffin Park and the home fans are quite hostile and loud, and it creates another boost for us, but another problem for the away team to deal with. So it's all in our favour. The louder the backing and the better the backing for us, it all makes a difference.
Dan, we talk about distribution, particularly playing out from the back. Last season, whenever you looked up, there was Ryan Woods coming back to collect the ball, move upfield. Doesn't seem to be the same kind of consistency about who is going to be there. So more often now you're playing it out to the centre backs. There's always going to be a limit how far forward they go. How much of a difference has that made to you? The Ryan moving on.
I think every player has their strengths and weaknesses. Woodsy was certainly one that wanted to get the ball as deep as possible. Whereas if you're making reference to Josh McEachran on that comment, Josh prefers to get the ball and play in more of an attacking fashion. So I think if you would have asked both of them if they were sat here now, I think Josh would want the ball further forward, and I think Woodsy would probably want it a little bit further deeper. That's each to their own and different players, but I think it's also important that it's noticed and acknowledged that we're not a surprise package anymore in the Championship. Whereas I think last season people are still kind of not expecting Brentford to play the way they play, to play the way we play. And now people come to Griffin Park, they know what we're going to do. Every single time we've got a way of playing, we've got an ethos at Brentford, which is we play football, and that's what we do. Everyone buys into that, and that's our game plan. So when players and other teams come knowing that game plan, because it is very consistent, we've showed it for certainly my time here at least, I think we then need to become a little bit less predictable, which is when I made reference talking to Sam just then, that we had to go long on Monday a little bit more, because when teams come to press, we end up putting ourselves under pressure, and there will always be a spare man somewhere, but sometimes finding that man under pressure, if the rotation isn't perfect and the positions aren't perfect, is very difficult. So, like I said, we've spoken about it as a team. We do have the option of a long ball, which I thought in terms of our second balls worked well the other night. But I think when we're confident and when we're all on song as a defensive unit, then going forward, obviously into the midfield and further forward than that into the strikers, I think it's a really good way of playing, and we've seen it on the videos week in, week out, that when we do it and when we do it well, we're pretty much unplayable. It's so difficult for teams to stop us. So yes, I think Woodsy, like I made reference to before, Woodsy would like the ball as deep as possible, and Josh may be a bit further up, but you know, then you could say Woodsy wouldn't play as many passes as far forward as Josh. Josh likes to get the ball and thread passes into Neil and into the 2/8s and into the wide men, whereas Woodsy would keep it very, very calm and simple. So maybe you could say those are the differences, but each player has got different strengths, weaknesses, and things they like and don't like doing.
But of course, you're right. Against West Brom, there were lots of long balls. I mean, obviously, you've always played some long balls over to Hendrick over on the right wing, but this time you were much more down the middle. But of course, the problem is that with that plan is that we don't actually have that many tall players.
No.
I mean, Romain is about the only person who's challenging in the air.
Yeah, I mean that's where we've identified in terms of a team. If we are going to go long, it can't be a free header and an unchallenged header straight back down our throats, because we're obviously going to be set up to play. And if it is on to go long to change it up a little bit, then we can't have a 6'5" centre half smashing the ball back down our throats when we're out of position, because obviously that puts us under huge amounts of pressure, just as much as it would if we're playing into pressure in our own final third. So we've spoken about that, and I think Neil, Ollie and Judgy even, although we didn't kick to his side quite as much, I think Neil and Ollie certainly, especially in the first half, made a big difference in not allowing a free header. And we picked up. I'm not seeing the stats, but if you look at the second balls that we picked up, I'm sure we had our lion's share, which then allows us to build from a higher position rather than putting ourselves under pressure in our own final third.
Yeah, I did keep the stats actually, and you know, as you would expect, the majority of them did not go to immediate Brentford position.
First contact, of course. Contact. Yes, of course.
But you're right. They were picking up the second position.
Yep.
So in a sense, that's something now you could use in the armoury more often.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's something that, like I just said to Sam, we can't be 100% predictable in the fact that we can only play out, because teams will then come and stop us. And when we put ourselves under pressure, if we lose the ball, more often than not, we're going to get punished. If we lose the ball 60 yards from our goal on a second ball, there's obviously a lot less chance that we're going to get punished, and we can then squeeze back in and get our shape and retain possession from there.